The phone buzzed at 11:07 p.m. Girls trip, don't worry. Love you, red heart. I stared at the message longer than I should have. It was simple, casual, almost rehearsed. My wife, Claire, had a way of easing my doubts with just a few words. Warm, predictable, and perfectly timed. But that night something felt off. Maybe it was how quickly the message came after I'd called and it went to voicemail. Maybe it was the don't worry part. It's funny how those two words never comfort you when they're supposed to. Still, I texted back a thumbs up and forced myself to sleep. Claire had been gone 4 days. Supposedly, she was in Palm Springs with her best friend, Rachel, and 2 other women from her office. Pictures trickled into our shared group chat. Cocktails by the pool, matching sun hats, the kind of smiles people put on for show. Rachel's posts, though, were oddly scarce. She was usually the loud one on social media, always posting, always tagging Claire. But this time, nothing. On the 3rd night, I called Rachel's husband, Evan, to see if he wanted to grab a drink. He hesitated before answering. Actually, man. Rachel's not on that trip. The world tilted slightly. What do you mean? Claire said. I know, he cut in, lowering his voice. Rachel told me she wasn't going. She said she needed a break from, well, everyone. I forced a laugh that didn't sound like mine. So, she's not in Palm Springs? No. Why? Nothing, I said, but my chest burned. Must have mixed up plans. When Claire came back Sunday afternoon, she looked radiant. Sun-kissed skin, messy bun, that effortless glow she always had after a few days away. She dropped her bag in the hall and kissed me like nothing in the world had changed. Hey you, she said with a tired smile. Missed you. Missed you too, I lied. We ate dinner quietly. She told me stories about spa days and endless laughter. How Rachel nearly got sunburned and how the girls made her promise to come again next month. Every word was polished. Too polished. That night while she showered, I checked her phone. My hands shook, not from guilt, but from something worse, anticipation. No texts from Rachel. Not one. But there were dozens from an unknown number saved as AJ. Simple, flirty exchanges that grew bolder as the week went on. Can't wait to wake up next to you again. You looked incredible tonight. I almost forgot we weren't supposed to hold hands in public. She won't find out. Promise. The last one hit like a bullet to the chest. When she came out of the bathroom, steam curling around her, I just stared at her. I wanted to ask, to scream, to demand answers, but all that came out was, how was the trip? She smiled, towel drying her hair. Perfect. You'd have loved it. Smiled back. And I hated myself for it. The next morning I woke up early and texted Evan. Come by for breakfast tomorrow. Don't ask why. Bring Rachel. He replied with a single, okay. Claire was surprised when I suggested hosting them. Didn't you say Evan's been busy? He needs a break, I said. So do we. She didn't suspect a thing. I barely slept that night. I kept replaying every laugh, every girls' night she'd had, every moment I'd trusted her without question. I wanted proof, real, undeniable proof. Not just texts from a contact name that could be anyone. The next morning, the smell of coffee filled the kitchen. I made breakfast. Scrambled eggs, toast, fresh fruit. Claire came down wearing one of her loose shirts, looking effortlessly beautiful, like the woman I used to think I knew. Hosting mode on, she said playfully, kissing my cheek. You're making enough to feed an army. They'll be here soon, I said. My voice felt steadier than I expected. 10 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Claire walked over, still smiling. I'll get it. Her voice faltered when she opened the door. Rachel stood there. Her hair was messy, her expression sharp. Evan trailed behind her, quiet, watchful. Claire froze in place, every drop of color draining from her face. Rachel, she stammered. What are you? Rachel's lips curved into something between a smile and a sneer. I just came for breakfast. And maybe a little honesty. The silence was deafening. I gestured toward the table. Come in. Food's getting cold. They sat down. Claire didn't. She hovered near the kitchen island, eyes darting between Rachel and me. Rachel leaned back in her chair, crossed her arms and spoke with calm venom. "So, Claire, how was your trip with my husband?" Evan's head snapped up. Claire's hand flew to her mouth. What?" she whispered. "Don't bother," Rachel said flatly. "He told me everything. The hotel receipts, the texts, the photos. You didn't even bother changing the name on your contact." Claire turned to me, desperate. "Daniel, please." I met her gaze. My voice came out low, steady, hollow. "He texted me too, Claire. The one you renamed as AJ. That's Aaron James, Rachel's husband." Her knees gave out, and she collapsed into the nearest chair. Rachel's eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. "I wanted to see your face," she said coldly. "To see what a liar looks like when she gets caught." No one spoke for a long time. The sound of a clock ticking filled the air, sharp and steady, cutting through the wreckage of 4 lives at once. Claire tried to reach for my hand. "Daniel, Don't," I said, pulling away. "Don't tell me it was a mistake. Don't tell me it didn't mean anything." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "It wasn't supposed to happen. He was just there. And I felt like you were drifting away from me and—" "Stop." My voice broke. "Don't turn this into my fault." Evan stood abruptly, fists clenched. "I think we're done here." He grabbed Rachel's hand, but she lingered for a second, her eyes softening just enough to show pain behind her fury. Then they were gone. The door shut, and the house felt impossibly large. Claire sat there, sobbing quietly, while I stared at the untouched breakfast. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she whispered. It just happened." "That's the problem, Claire," I said. "Things like that don't just happen." She looked at me through red-rimmed eyes. "Can we fix this?" "Fix?" I laughed, bitter and hollow. "You burned it to the ground." She reached for me again, but I stepped back. "You know," I said, "when you texted me don't worry, I actually didn't. Not because I trusted you, but because I believed we were stronger than lies." Her voice cracked. "Please don't leave me." But I was already walking toward the door. "I already did," I said quietly. "You just didn't notice." Outside, the air was cool and heavy. I walked until I reached the small park at the end of the street. The world felt quieter there, safer. I sat on a bench and watched a group of kids play soccer, their laughter echoing in the distance. For a moment, I envied their simplicity, their unbroken trust in the world. I thought of the woman I married, the one who used to trace constellations with me on our apartment roof, who used to whisper promises under streetlights. Maybe that woman was still somewhere inside Claire. Or maybe she was just the version I needed her to be. Either way, she was gone. The phone buzzed again. A message from her. "I'm sorry, Daniel. Please come home. We can talk." I stared at the screen, the same glow that had once brought comfort now burning cold against my hand. After a long pause, I typed a single reply. "I hope the trip was worth it." Then I turned off my phone. The sun was rising, bleeding gold over the horizon. New day. A different life. And for the first time in years, I didn't worry.